today is September 28, 2016, which means we are approaching October at such a clip. Cars, all of the cars. Prep season is upon us. Like, we are in prep season, there's no doubt about it. We've got just over a month, like a month and a few days, to kind of figure out what's going on with our stories for NaNoWriMo. So, I'm checking in. I filmed my last video like a week ago, but I just got to posting it because life has been crazy. So the time between these videos is very short, but I have had some time to do a lot of prepping, and I finally got into that book that I've been taking notes on, this one, and I don't like it. The reviews were really good, so that's why I gave it a try, and I have a lot of issues with it. I think the problem is that I underestimated how much I actually know about writing, and last video I said, oh, I'm not classically trained, and there's a lot of stuff to learn, and there is a lot of stuff to learn, but this starts with like some very basic stuff that's a little frustrating to me, partly just a lot of little issues. She starts with theme, and I tend to just worry about theme later. Like, I'm focusing on plot and characters and what is the story, and then I can worry about theme, like making sure everything is the same theme after it's actually written. That's not something that I start from, it's not something that I work from, but she does, and it's a little frustrating. It's 4 chapters of just woo-woo theme stuff until I actually get to any kind of plot. She also over-explains some simple concepts and just runs on about various things, and I took like a page and a half of notes in 4 chapters, and that's frustrating. So it's not the best fit for me, and that's fine. I'm gonna rush through it, and I've picked up a second book that I'm gonna see if that might have some different, like if that might fit me better. I picked up this one, and where this is like plotting woo-woo, this is like plotting science. There's like graphs and charts and stuff in here, so I think this might be a better fit for me. It's still not the book that I had originally planned on reading this year, and I still might give that one a go. Depending upon how much time I have, I might not have enough time to even get through this one, so we will see, and I'm progressing through my book nicely and taking lots of notes. So my prep is moving along okay. I could be doing a lot better in some areas, but I have this big project coming up next month, so I'm working on that too. I'm just trying to get a handle on everything, and I'm setting goals and planning things, and my life actually is starting to feel a little bit like I'm starting to feel like I'm an adult. I can't say it. I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to grow up. Anyway, I still haven't figured out what I want to write this year, and I thought maybe this video we could talk about some of my options and weigh some pros and cons. I made a list last night, so let's get through it. The first story I'm considering is tentatively called The Sentinels Balance. It's a story I've had in my head since I was like 13 and 14. I used to walk around the house doing chores and like just speaking dialogue, and kitty cat. So I would be speaking dialogue to myself, and this story would be playing in my head, and it was just, oh. Eventually I tried to write the story, but I was, 14 years old, and woohoo! I don't think I have any record of any of that I tried to write down the first time. Maybe I do, I don't know. Then a few years later, tried again. The cat is just all over the place. And then that still didn't work. But I have done a lot of work like with the world, and my emotions are too wrapped up in this for me to try to give it a go. And I had thought about doing it for my first NaNoWriMo, and I may have mentioned it before, but I thought about it before, and I decided, no, I am way too emotionally involved in this. I can't do this massive experiment of NaNoWriMo, and if I fail it, then that means I fail the story. Like, I didn't want the possibility of linking failure to NaNoWriMo to failure for the story, because that just would have broken my heart, because forever this story that has been just, it's a piece of me. I don't want to kill it. So I feel like it's too big, and I'm still maybe not at the point I want to be to write it, although I am feeling a little bit more like I probably could at this point. But I'm thinking I might want to wait. The second story that I'm considering for this NaNoWriMo is the working title for it, or just what I'm calling it while I'm... Just what I'm calling it while I'm just kind of coming up with the idea is Magic Colors. It's either a middle grade or a young adult kind of fantasy adventure. Something about, like, there's a girl in a village and the people around her all have a certain kind of magic, and the way that people see magic is a color, and her village's magic is probably like blue or something. So everybody only ever sees blue magic, and that's all that those people there could practice. And then when people from outside of their place come, they have a different color magic, and she can see it. And it turns out that she has access to all of the magics, and maybe the story has spent her going around to various places and becoming affluent in the various colors of magic. I don't know. It's kind of a vague idea. I don't have a lot really planned on it. And it's also probably something that's very similar to stuff that's already been done. So I'd have to come up with a way to differentiate it from other things. Especially, and I think the biggest reason why I may not want to do it this year is I have no idea what the story is. I just really like the premise, but I have no idea what the story is. Like, why does she need to learn the magic? Why doesn't she just stay in her village and keep it to herself? I don't know. So, but because I'm studying the plot this year, this might be the perfect year to do it. So I will know more if I want to do this one after I get through my plot books. The third book I'm considering writing for this NaNoWriMo is I love this. I was telling a friend about this story the other day, and she came up with the perfect title, The Model Wife. It's a young adult thriller, suspense, adventure thing, set in contemporary times. It's not magical or anything, which is way far outside of my comfort zone, and that's probably one reason why I don't really want to do it this year. But there's a young girl who is feeling like an outsider in her own house and blah blah blah. There's some weird stuff going on with her grandmother, and her grandmother's husband that she had married some years back is like a super big train, like model train enthusiast, and his wife is dying and he wants a replacement wife, so he tries to take the girl, the main character. And so I love the title that my friend came up with, The Model Wife. That's perfect. But it's like a creepy suspense thriller thing, and I've never done that before, so that scares me. Might not be something I want to do during a NaNoWriMo. So the fourth book that I'm considering writing for this NaNoWriMo is tentatively called The Madness Again, and I think I've probably talked about it before. It's kind of a spacey adventure sci-fi thing. I love sci-fi books that take place in space, a la Firefly, right? I love that. Get on a spaceship and explore the universe and have adventures. I started reading James S.A. Corey's Leviathan Wakes because the series was coming out, and oh my god, this is like, if this is a genre, it's my favorite genre in sci-fi. So the story is there's a guy who wakes up in a spaceship that is hemorrhaging oxygen, and he has no idea how he got there, and he's missing the last 5 years of his life, and there's shenanigans going on in the universe and interesting things, and I don't think I have the time to kind of get into it at this point. But the best part about possibly doing it for this NaNoWriMo is that I have the plot like mostly figured out. There's just some refining that needs to be done, which I think reading these plot books would help with. And so that might be a really great way to like practice using some of the knowledge that I gained this year. I have a good clear handle on the characters and I really like them. I like where it's going. Like, I'm so excited about it. But it might be too similar to other ideas out there. Again, I just don't feel like I'm very original. I know the typical wisdom says that don't worry about being original. You do you, boo. But I still worry about it. And the other thing that holds me back from doing this for NaNoWriMo this year is that I'm not terribly well read in sci-fi, at least I feel that way. I've read so much fantasy that I could do fantasy until I die, but I might die if I just do fantasy for the rest of my life. I gotta vary it, I gotta do other things, I have other ideas, and I can't let that hold me back. So, we'll see. The fifth book that I'm considering writing for NaNoWriMo this year is tentatively called A Goodbye. It's probably like the worst title that I've come up with, but it worked at the time. It's basically like a new adult contemporary fantasy kind of adventure thing. Maybe some romance in it. Well, definitely some romance. It's definitely a romance. Oh my god. It's basically the story about these various clans that basically rule the world behind closed doors. Nobody really knows about it, like the regular people don't know, but the clans, the magical people, they know about it, and they don't intermingle. They are very like insular, and my main character has been adopted. She has no idea that she has that past or that she has that connection, and she ends up running into somebody from another clan, and ho ho ho, the fates have decided these two should meet. And they form a link which basically ties them together for life, and they have to kind of deal with that. And all of the physiological things that come along with that, and the complications that his family brings, and the learning how to deal with the fact that she's magical in some way, and I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I've had the idea for a while. I've worked on the world a bit, so I've got characters and world to play with already. The big problem? Plot. There's no plot. I have no idea what the freaking plot is. And at this point, the plot is that, oh, she gets pregnant and then he's taken away and then she's got to find him, and that's really boring. So I've got to find something else to do with this plot. And you can see now why I really wanted to learn more about plotting this year. Because basically my big hang-ups with all of these stories that I want to do is that I feel like I'm just not very good at plotting. So the other thing that I'm considering doing for NaNoWriMo this year is coming up with a completely brand new idea. It would be fresh, I would not be emotionally attached to it, so therefore I would not be too scared to do it, which is why I did my story I did last year, because it was just an idea, and I ran with it, and I'm now emotionally attached to it, and I want to finish it eventually. The only bad side about coming up with a new thing is that it's a brand new thing, and I've got all these other ideas. Why did I do that? So those are the things I'm considering doing for NaNoWriMo this year. I really don't know where I'm going yet, and I think that's why I have to rush through and try to get these notes taken and all the download from these books so that I can actually make a decision. Next week on Wednesday, I will have another video for you. It's pretty much going to be weekly. On Wednesday, I'll do all of my big updates for NaNoWriMo prep season and through NaNoWriMo. I don't think any of that made sense, but whatever. I'm hoping to have my first plot book read and notes taken and stuff so that I can actually make a decision by next week. So that's the big thing that I'm doing. Have you figured out what you're going to write yet? And thumbs up or thumbs down on any of the ideas that I have. They're all kind of like, eh. But they're my ideas. And I don't know how I feel about actually sharing them. A lot of people are like, no, I have to keep them to myself. I can't share them with the world because somebody will rip it off. And likely, yes, somebody will probably rip off one of these. And you know what? More power to you if you take one of these ideas and run with it, because your execution is going to be way different than my execution. So I hope I kept it vague enough that... Oh, whatever. It's the world. Everybody's going to think about something. I should probably go before this gets way too long. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you're doing on your prep. Are you freaking out yet? I'm not actually freaking out this year. I feel very grounded, and probably because I freaked out about it last year. And I don't know, I feel like everything is under control. As long as I stay on task and I get things done as I need to, there shouldn't be any freaking out. But make a list, check it twice, do some Santa stuff, and you will kind of calm down. So I hope that preps are going well for everybody, and I'm so excited about this. So I will see you next time. Bye! The fifth book that I'm considering writing for this NaNoWriMo is Ah! What are you doing? I guess I didn't push the button.